Back out in the garden working on the greenhouse build and putting down the frame. I had a bit of a mishap with this piece of the frame. I stumbled and stepped on it, so we're gonna see how this works. But this is real, y'all. This is real. So everything is leveled, everything is plumb. The only thing that's wonky is that piece right there, and we are putting down the frame. So I'm gonna come over here. Okay, so we already pre-drilled the pilot holes, as you can see here. Those don't come already pre-drilled, neither does the screws to use to affix it to the wood. Hope I'm not going too fast. Put one on both ends and the center. So we're gonna speed this up and get the rest of the base down. Everybody, we have secured down the left side, the one that had the mishap that broke my fall. We ended up putting 4 pilot holes, one on both ends. I hope I'm not going too fast, and 2 relatively not quite near the center, but nicely spaced out so that it is laying flat on the board. So now we're about ready to hit these side pieces and get this puppy build going. Is coming along slowly. There's a lot of minor adjustments. So if you purchase a greenhouse 6x8 from Harbor Freight, just know that the aluminum frame is not sturdy, and there's lots of minor adjustments to get it sitting correctly on the base. And then once you get it on the base, you have to make sure that your joints are lining up. And this one, we tried to put the cross panel, the side panel up. We had to lay it down because now we need to shimmy this side piece here. Needs to shimmy back a little bit more. Excuse the powder on my hands. My hands were getting really wet in my gloves, and that's really gross. So we're gonna have to shimmy this down a little bit more in order to get this up and all the holes lined up. But there's a lot of shimmying, so if you're gonna put this up, make sure that you don't secure anything down all the way, because you're gonna be taking it out and putting it back and taking it out and putting it back. So right now we have 2 side beams up. We're gonna have to shimmy the back, and we're gonna have to shimmy the left side base rail. So this is where we are right now, but it is slowly coming together, and this is tedious. If you want to do this, give yourself time. Unfortunately, the sun is up, so we're running against the clock. We're taking our water breaks, so just know that it is tedious. This is a bloody nightmare. The aluminum is very thin, it's very wiggly, and it just takes forever to try to fit these pieces together. So right now everything is loosely fit, because you have to put everything loosely, because you have to keep taking the bolts off, putting other pieces on, putting the bolts back on. And so this is where we are right now. It's time for a water break. Everybody, I just wanted to give you a bird's eye view of what's going on. Now, I looked at a tutorial on YouTube, because YouTube University knows it all, right? Well, on this 6x8, it has 2 holes at the bottom on the side panel. I don't know if you all can see it, but there's a hole here, right here, and there's a hole where the screws are in. If you go up to the top, there's only 1 hole. Now, let me show you why this is important. I watched, the gentleman put the pole upside down. So you can see here, there's a visible hole here and a visible hole here. This is where you have to put your screws. Well, if you put this side beam in upside down, this is what it looks like. End up not having your second hole the way you're supposed to. When you put these cross beams in, there are 2 holes here. they have to be aligned going upward. If not, you're going to have the bottom piece on the top, and there's not going to be a place to put your adjoining nail, well, screw and nut. So now we have to take 3 of these posts off and start over. So if you're going to be doing this, just remember the instruction manual is not altogether clear, but you're going to need these 2 holes facing up and not down like we have them on 3 of these poles, because we listened to someone on YouTube University who didn't get it right. We've had lots of starts and stops today. It's just too hot to try to do something like this, so we've had to take mini breaks. There were lots of unscrewing and screwing, adding in all that good jazz, and so we are now at the point to where we have up the sidewalls and the cross braces. I'm working on this side. I've just put up the side panels. I'm getting ready to put up the cross braces, and then I'm going to work on putting up the back panels. My helper today is taking a break, getting something to drink, so I'm going to get the cross braces on over here, and then I will put the back braces on, and hopefully we'll be able to get the roof on to make it a little bit more sturdy. I have to keep stressing that this is not a sturdy product. I understand why there are so many individuals who have negative comments about it, but it is it's temporary. And if you're looking at it with the mindset that this is a temporary solution, and you reinforce it and you do the modifications, then it can be useful. And so for right now, this is temporary, so let me get the cross braces on. A lot of headache. It's best to put your nuts and bolts in the channels here as you are putting it together. You need 3 in each channel. So that's what I did first. Now I'm going to go back and put the cross braces. That will save you a lot of headache. So I put the cross braces in for both sides. I don't think anyone has actually said how paper thin this is, and that if you do not reinforce this, you are going to have a crumpled $300, $400 frame laying on the ground somewhere. So it's imperative that if you are going to buy this Harbor Freight greenhouse, I have the 6x8, you must reinforce this. And I am going to be building 2 benches, 1 to go here and 1 to go on the opposite side, and I'm going to screw this frame into those benches, because this frame, even with the cross braces put up, is still very mobile. So I can't leave this up like this too long. A hard wind will knock this down, and my investment would be for nothing. Okay, side walls are in. As you can see, both side walls are in. I do apologize. This has been an all-day process. Lots of starts and stops, like I mentioned. The back panels are up. Well, not panels, the frame. All the framing for both sides, left and right, the base and the back are in. Now it's time to get the roof framed out and put up next. So that's the next step, you guys. We're going to have a question and answer session once I finish this. This might be the 3rd part in this series regarding this greenhouse. Definitely need a question and answer series for this. Is being made. I have the roof rafters up and the roof up. Now it's time to make sure that everything is secure, and then we'll go on to the next leg, which is whatever it says in the manual. In all honesty, I don't know what that is right now, because there's a lot of putting in and taking down and all that other kind of jazz. So all right, let's get, I think the windows should go next, and I think I made a mistake by taking out the extra screws. So here we go again, taking stuff down and putting stuff back down to the last few pieces before the panels go in. The hardest part so far, or the most challenging, it's not hard, is this over the top door piece and the secure post that's supposed to go here as a doorstop, it's not lining up. Very few pieces actually line up the way they should. If you look at the roof truss right there, I don't know if you can see, it doesn't line up. And all the screws are in the holes the way they're supposed to be. And if you move it around anymore, then they're not going to fit. So that worries me a little bit. The window pieces have me a little bit stumped. I think I might have it upside down. So that's more taking bolts out, shifting things around, and trying it again. Gaps in the top roof truss here. And so, yeah, that's gonna have to be sealed with some caulking. The greenhouse is up. It is shored up a little more. I have just given it a little bit of a wiggle, and there's not a lot of movement in the frame as it was before. I'm still going to build out a bench here for plants to sit and build out a bench here for plants to sit. My sister gave me a raised bed many years ago, probably like 2-3 years ago, and I'm going to place that right along here. And so that's where we are right now. We're trying to look over the instructions. Let me back out. The paper instructions, they're really not all that useful. There's a lot of confusion with different pieces here, there, and everywhere. So you have to look at the paper. You have to look online of others who ran into similar issues in order to be able to get this thing up. I can tell you that it is a complete pain in the left and the right butt cheek. So let me look at some online tutorials for this door and the door stop frame that goes here, and see if we can at least finish this up before we completely lose light. And then tomorrow I will tackle the windows and putting up the paneling. So this is where we are right now, and this has been an all-day pain in the tuchus.